All right, so what we'll do, okay, so just act natural means we'll just do the same thing. I'll just edit some parts out. Okay. All right, so yeah, what we're gonna do then is just, we're gonna read through it one more time. Y'all give it a little bit more feeling. And then say it kind of like you would say it if we were doing the real thing. And we'll go from there.
So am I actually talking to somebody right here though?
No, so this is just a mono. This is you saying stuff to yourself.
Okay.
Like you walked into a room and you're saying all this to yourself. I kind of speak up because I don't know how well it's gonna pick up. So make sure you use your outside voice. Yes, like that. Okay. All right, ready? You good?
Hey.
All right, whenever you're ready.
If this business would really be finished when I did the deed, then it would be best to get it over with quickly. If the assassination of the king could work like a net, sweeping up everything and preventing any consequences, then the murder would be the be-all, the be-all and end all of the whole affair. I would gladly put my soul in the afterlife at risk to do it, but for the crimes like these, there are still punishments in the world. By committing violent crimes, we only teach other people to commit violence, and the violence of our students will come back to plague us teachers. Justice being equal to everyone forces us to drink from the poison cup that we serve to others. The king trusts me in 2 ways. First of all, I am his kinsman and his subject, so I should always try to protect him. Second, I am his host, so I should be closing the door in his murderer's face, not trying to murder him myself. Besides, Duncan has always been such a humble leader, so free of corruption that his virtuous legacy will speak for him when he dies, as if angels were playing trumpets against the injustice of his murder. Pity, like an innocent newborn baby, will ride with the wind with winged angels on invisible horses through the air to spread news of the horrible deed to everyone, everywhere. People will shed a flood of tears that will drown the wind like a horrible downpour of rain. I cannot spur myself to action. The only thing motivating me is ambition, which makes people rush ahead of themselves toward disaster.
What news do you have? He has almost finished dinner. Why did you leave the dining room?
Has he asked for me?
Don't you know he has?
We can't go on with this plan. The king has just honored me, and I have earned the good opinion of all sorts of people. I want to enjoy these honors while the feeling is fresh and not throwing them away so soon.
Were you drunk when you seemed so hopeful before? Have you gone to sleep and woken up green and pale in the spirit of this idea? From now on, this is what I'll think of your love. Are you afraid to act the way you desire? Will you take the crown you want so badly, or will you live as a coward saying, I can't, after you say I want to? You're like the poor cat in the old story.
Please stop. I dare to only what is proper for me, or for a man. He who dares to... Yeah. Please stop. I dare to do only what is proper for a man to do. He who dares to do more is not a man at all.
If you weren't a man, then what kind of animal were you when you first told me you wanted to do this? When you dared to do it, that's when you were a man. And if you go one step further by doing what you dared to do before, you'll be that much more of a man. The time and place weren't right before, but you would have gone ahead and with the murder anyhow. Now the time and place are just right, but they're almost too good for you. Like, what were we gonna say? Like, if we had a child together, or
What?
like, were we gonna say like if we had a child together?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. If we had a child together, I would have smashed his brains out against the wall, and if I had sworn to do that same way you have sworn to do this.
But if we fail?
We fail? If you get your courage up, we can't fail. When Duncan is asleep, the day's hard journey has definitely made him tired. I'll get his 2 servants so drunk that their memory will go up in smoke through the chimneys of their brains. When they lie asleep like pigs, so drunk they'll be dead to the world. What won't you and I be able to do to the unguarded Duncan? And whatever we do, we can lay all the blame on the drunken servants.
May you only give birth to male children, because your fearless spirit should create nothing that isn't masculine. Once we have covered the 2 servants with blood and used their daggers to kill, won't people believe that they were the culprits?
Who could think it happened any other way? We'll be grieving loudly when we hear that Duncan has died.
Now I am decided. I will exert every muscle in my body to commit this crime. Go now and pretend to be a friendly hostess. Hide with a false, pleasant face what you know in your false, evil heart.
Alright, good. Okay. So, what do y'all feel like y'all could have done better? And what did y'all like about what y'all did?
I felt once I got probably partway through this one, I started getting a little bit more like a variation
Convinced.
in the voice, and
Oh, okay.
or like this part I was kind of, I mean it's kind of a long part right now, but felt like I was just kind of reading it, and then as soon as I got, like to this part, I was like,
You were feeling it more?
yeah, a little bit.
It might just be because it's so long, but that's something we can work on.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I felt she had her part, like the
I'll
voice of it.
I'll ask her. Alright, what did you like and what did you not like?
I feel like I had the tone down. Like, I feel like I just need to...
Let it all,
more.
like, just
Yeah.
become Lady Macbeth.
Yeah, because I feel like I was kind of holding it back,
Yeah.
but... Because I was trying to, like, read it, but... I liked... let's see. I feel like I just need to know how to word that one part better.
Yeah, that's something we can work on.
But, yeah, I just need to get down, like, just the effect, like, and still have the tone, like.
Yeah, and that, I think both what y'all said is valid. Like, I feel like, yeah, during this part you were just kind of reading it, and so the next time, like, so at this point he's really hesitant, like, he doesn't really want to do it, and he says that the only thing motivating him is ambition. And that makes people do stupid things. Like, the only thing he has to gain out of this is just, he'll be king. Like, everything he has to go through to do this is gonna cost him a lot. Like, it might not even work. They might get caught, whatever. So at this point, he's like it's like a really big internal struggle. So I think being able to show that on your face a little bit better would definitely help. And then, I did like how you kind of seemed like you were just kind of desperate, like you were like, come on, we can't do this. I mean, like, I can't do more than, like, a man should not be doing this kind of stuff. Like, this isn't how people should act. And then at the end, I don't want you to fake it, but I want you, whenever Michaela actually convinces you, that's when I really want to see it. Like, I really want to feel it from you. Like, whenever she's convinced you, like, if she doesn't convince you, then don't act like you're convinced. Like, I don't want to hear it in your voice. I only want to hear it in your voice when, however she says it, you're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. I know you don't decide you're going to till the end, but during all this, he's like turning the wheels in his head, like, okay, well, maybe she's right, blah blah blah. Maybe I'm not being a man, all this stuff. So I think that's what you could work on, like, the good and the bad. And then Michaela, yeah, I agree. I also agree with you. I like the way you did it. I feel like, yeah, if we're up and standing around and stuff, then it'll be a lot easier because you can, like you said, I think this particular dialogue would work really well if we were standing up, and we will do that later, where you have free reign to, like, get in his face, like, point at him, like, try to make it feel really little. Yeah, the reading was good. I don't feel like it it didn't sound too much like you were just reading line for line, so that's good. And that'll just come with, you know, learning your lines and then being more comfortable with it, and then being able to, you know, really let it all out and making it your own. Because like you said, yeah, don't be afraid to hold back. Like say it how you would, like put yourself in that position, you know, you want to be queen. You know, you've got a cowardly husband that's like been dragging you down. You know, he's not gonna do it, but he needs to be the one to do it, and then you'll help.
Like you're holding me back.
Yeah, and then you're like, all right, well, are you a man or what? Like, should I wear the pants in this? Like,
Give me your pants.
yeah, I mean, yeah, just like, you know, if you're not gonna do it, then what kind of man are you? Like, you're not gonna act like that. Well, then, is our marriage a lie? Like, do you have no desire or passion or anything? Okay, so let's read it through one more time, and then just take everything I said and y'all said, and just try to really, you know, make it your own. So the main thing I want you to focus on, Tyler, is this first part. Like, this is a really big internal struggle, so I want to be able to feel that, and then you're still not sure, like at this point you're like, please stop, like, come on, like we can't do this, and then you're still scared because you're like, well, what if we fail? And then that's when Michaela really needs to be like, needs to sell you. She needs to sell, pretend like you're a snowman and she's selling you snow. Like,
So she's like, you're a coward, you want to be known as a coward, or you want to be known as a man.
yeah, basically she's taking shots at your manhood, and like nobody likes that. And so, and then on the flip side, Michaela, yeah, you really need to, I want to be able to see it in Tyler, so you really need to make him like feel small, like he's not worth a dang, like you should be the man in the relationship, like you should be running the household, all this. And then that's when you're like, we're not gonna fail. If you do your job, we're not gonna fail, you idiot. And then, yeah, so you just basically just be really convincing and persuasive and like firm. Alright, so let's do it one more time. With all that, take it in, and then we'll start whenever you're ready, Tyler.
How do you think, sorry,
Oh,
how
no,
do
go
you
ahead.
think this should be said?
So at this point, you're kind of just like, and then you're like, well, what news do you have? And then he's almost finished dinner. Why did you leave the dining room? And then you're like, did he ask for me? And you're like, don't you know he has? And then you kind of break down. You're like, look, we can't do this. So right now, you're kind of suspecting that he might not be 100% on board like you are. And so you're kind of just like a little suspicious, like, he's almost finished dinner. Why did you leave the dining room? And it's because you're like, you have this internal conflict and you're just like, okay, I need to get out of here for a minute. And so you kind of think you know why, and then that's when you're like, because then that's when he's like, we can't go through this, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when you're like, were you drunk? And then that's when you just like start letting him have it, and you like flip a switch and you're like, you're no man.
I'm gonna come over this table and talk.
Hey, if that's what you're feeling, then go for it. I mean, I'm not gonna, it'll look good. I mean, it'll probably scare Tyler, so. I mean, alright.
That's the wrong pen. What is wrong with me?
Alright, so whenever you're ready, if y'all are good to go, then go for it. Today, Junior.
Yes, sir.
Alright, whenever you're ready. I thought it was brushing up against it's the table.
I was like, what?
But then I was like, oh wait, no, that shouldn't be her leg. She's all the way over there.
I'm just stretched.
Long-legged.
I am a brown.
If this business would really be finished when I did the deed, then it would be best to get it over with quickly. If the assassination of the king could work like a net, sweeping up everything and preventing any consequences, then the murder would be the be-all and the end-all of the whole affair. And I would gladly put my soul in the afterlife at risk to do it. But for the crimes like these, that are still punishments in this world, by committing violent crimes, we only teach other people to commit violence, and the violence of our students will come back to plague us teachers. Justice being equal to everyone forces us to drink from the poisoned cup that we serve to others. The king trusts me in 2 ways. First, I am his kinsman and the subject, so I should always try to protect him. Second, I am his host, so I should be closing the door on his murderer's face, not trying to murder him myself. Besides, Duncan has been such a humble leader, so free of corruption that his virtuous legacy will speak for him when he dies, as if angels were playing trumpets against the injustice of his murder. Pity, like an innocent newborn baby, will ride with the winged angels on invisible horses through the air to spread news of the horrible deed to everyone everywhere. People will shed a flood of tears that will drown the wind like a horrible downpour of the rain. I cannot spur myself to action. The only thing motivating me is ambition, which makes people rush ahead of themselves toward disaster.
What news do you have? He has almost finished dinner. Why did you leave the dining room?
Has he asked for me?
Don't you know he has?
We can't go on with this plan. The king has just honored me, and I have earned the good opinion of all sorts of people. I want to enjoy these honors while the feeling is fresh, and not throw them away so soon.
Were you drunk when you seemed so hopeful before? Have you gone to sleep and woken up green and pale in the fear of this idea? From now on, this is what I'll think of your love. Are you afraid to act the way you desire? Will you take the crown you want so badly, or will you live as a coward, always saying, I can't, after you say, I want to? You're like the poor cat in the old story.
Please stop. I dare to only do what is proper for a man to do. He who dares to do no more is not a man at all.
If you weren't a man, then what kind of animal were you when you first told me you wanted to do this? When you dared to do it, that's when you were a man. And if you want to go one step further by doing what you dared to do before, you'll be that much more of a man. The time and place weren't right before, but you would have gone ahead with the murder anyhow. Now the time and place are just right, but you're almost just too good for you. But it's almost too good for you. If we had a child together, I would have smashed his brains out against a wall and sworn to do this. Wait. If I had sworn to do that same way, you would have sworn to do this.
But if we fail?
We fail? If you get your courage up, we can't fail. When Duncan is asleep, that day's hard journey has definitely made him tired. I'll get his 2 servants so drunk that the memory will go up in smoke through the chimneys of their brains. When they lie asleep like pigs, so drunk they'll be dead to the world. What won't you and I be able to do to the unguarded Duncan? And whatever we do, we can lay all the blame on the drunken servants.
May you only give birth to male children, because your fearless spirit should create nothing that isn't masculine. Once we have conquered covered the 2 servants with blood, and used their daggers to kill, won't people believe that they were the culprits?
Who could think it could happen any other way? We'll be grieving loudly when we hear that Duncan has died.
Now I am decided, and I will exert every muscle in my body to commit this crime. Go now and pretend to be a friendly host. Hide with the fault.
Keep going. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, just keep going.
Hide with the false pleasant face, what you know in your false evil heart.
How do you think I did?
Pretty good.
I just always get stuck on that one paragraph. I don't know how to read it.
Oh, the old English that comes out. It's a tongue twister sometimes. Hide with the false pleasant face, but you know in your false evil heart, God may exit. How do you think I should say on the second page where it says, but if we fail? Should I be like, but if we fail? Or should it be like, more drawn out?
Sorry.
On the part where it says on page 2, after you're like, I had sworn to do that the same way you have sworn to do this, should I have that drawn out where it says, but if we fail? Or should I just, thank you.
Y'all earned it. So, okay. So that was a much better. What I really liked about your first part, Tyler, is like, you sounded like you were pleading with whoever. Like, I could tell there was conflict and a lot of doubt. Like, that was good. Like, that was a lot better than the last one. And then I like how, so when you're like the poor cat in the old story, like those sound like, I don't know, I didn't read all of it yet. I don't know what that was about. But that was good. Like, it's definitely feels like shots fired. And I like how you're still just kind of like, come on, I mean, we can't do this. And then I like all this that y'all did. And then I think the only thing I would have told you to change, Tyler, was like, so she lays out all these points and then finally you're like, now I'm decided. Like, if up until this point you're still just kind of like, okay, well, how do we do this, you know, how do you know it's going to work? And she lays out all these points. And then at the last point, I kind of want to see more just like, okay, now I'm decided. I will exert every muscle in my body to commit this crime. Like, now you're actually finally like, okay, all right, I'm on board. Let's do it. And we'll hide with a false, pleasant face what you know in your false, evil heart. But that was good. I felt a lot more emotion from both of y'all, so that was...
Should we get through this part real quick?
What?
Should we get through this part again?
What part?
The last part? Where it's now undecided?
If you can feel it without saying the whole thing again, then yeah. So we can start with who could think it happened any other way. And like I said, that was all your convincing. I thought was really good. You're like, who could think it happened any other way? Like, I mean, I just told you what we're gonna do. It'll work. Like, you know, we're gonna be crying loudly when he finds out he's dead. So who would blame anybody but the servants? So yeah, just start with your last part, Michaela, and then we'll go from there. Actually, no, let's start just a tad bit earlier. Let's start with the if we fail, and then say your little we fail part, and then we'll go from there. So you start, Tyler.
Let's see. But if we fail?
We fail? If you get We fail? If you get your courage up, we can't fail. When Duncan is asleep, the day's hard journey has definitely made him tired. I'll get his 2 servants so